So what this is a tutorial on how to use local search with Google Maps. And the hard part about this is there's a lot of little things that are in place here. So what we need to do first, this first one here, is you have to get the center point. And usually what it is that they're going to type in an address somewhere, and then that address you have to send into the geocoder. It's going to send you back out a latitude and longitude. You need that latitude and longitude for the point you're going to use on your local search. So you're going to then use, so first you're using the maps geocode function, then you're using the local search. That local search will give you back a list of results, and those results will then have in them like the information that you want, the address, the location, the name, and so forth. You're going to use that location from the results to then put markers on a map. And you may also want to use some of the other information to use on a custom marker as well. So it's going to use a lot of different features of both local search and Google Maps. Alright, so let's do that here. We're going to go switch over to the Flash movie here. And this is what we have to start with. We just have a little Flash movie here that's got a place to enter an address, and it has a search button on it. So what we want to do is we're going to type an address. I've sort of pre-filled one in here for BMTC, and click search. So before we start our code, one thing you want to make sure that you've done is that you have all your import statements. So now you're going to need Flash imports, you're going to need Google Maps imports, and you're also going to need your Google Search imports. And remember, to have that, you're also going to have to make sure that you have all those in place. So you have your BE and your COM folders in addition to your SWC file for your Google Maps. So that's for your local part, right? That's the local search, and then this is the code for the Maps API as well. Okay, so let's first start with just responding to them clicking on that search button. So let's go here and get the name of that button, which we haven't given a name to, so I'm going to call it search button. So search BTN, and then we're going to have an event listener, an event handler for that button. And I'm going to add that on map ready, so I can't do a search until map is ready. So search button listener, so search button, add event listener. It's a mouse event we'll look for, click, and then on click search we'll name the handler for that. Alright, so let's add that on click search handler, mouse event type, and oops, put in void here. Okay, and so then right now I'm just going to do trace clicked search. I just do that first to make sure that everything is working. So we're going to run that, and I'm going to click search, and we should see there we get map ready. Now, nothing happened when I clicked it before, but then once the map was ready, I got the map ready, then I can click search and get click search. So that is working too, where I'm not able to really click it until the map is ready. Okay, great. So now what we want to do is we want to do geocode the address. Alright, so we're going to need our geocoder here as well. So let's take a look at setting up a geocoder to geocode this address. So I'm going to do it right here just for now, but you could also do this as a property. Var geocoder. Sorry, it's not. It's client geocoder. All right, equals new client geocoder. Alright, and let's add a little space in here as well, so we see that. Okay, so that's our geocoder from the Google Maps, and what we're going to do is add an event listener to that, so that we know when the geocoding event comes. Actually, you know what? There's no point in making a new geocoder every time, so let's do this. Let's do this properly. In our properties up here, we're going to create a client geocoder, and I'm going to take out this new part here. Alright. The reason being we can't actually make a new geocoder until the map is ready. So we make our property there by just saying we're going to have a geocoding event. And then here, when the map is ready, we will create a new geocoder. Right, so geocoder equals new client geocoder. Right, and then we have to add some listeners for when it has success and a failure. So geocoder add event listener. Geocoding event is the event type. Geocoding success. I'm going to say on geocode, we'll call it. And then, just in case, this, depending on how they type in what they're doing, they could easily type in something that can't be geocoded. So when you're doing that, you have to put in for the failure as well. Fail geocode. Alright, let's take out this here. So we're adding one for both success and for failure. And now we add the handlers for those. And remember, it's always the same basic structure that we put in place for these. Right? We have the event type here going. Oops, sorry. Alright, we have the drew that in the wrong place. The event type geocoding event goes here, and the name of the function is there. And the same for everywhere else. That was the mouse event and the type, and then those two went right to the mouse event, oops, and type there. Okay, so now that we have our geocoding thing here, let's type in what we want to do on our success. So right now I'm just going to trace geocode success, and then I'm going to copy this whole thing and add one in for failure. And I'm not going to do anything in this time we don't have time to do, but you might do something like alert them that you typed in the address wrong, couldn't find it, please type it in again, or something like that. Okay, so there we have our geocoder set up. We have our geocoder, we added our listeners, and then now when they click the search, we can use it. We can say geocoder dot geocode, and then we're going to pass in the address. So the address, and that is this right here, and that should be a dynamic text field with an instance name, so that we can grab the text out of it and use that. So address txt.text is what we want to geocode. So let's try that out and see if it works this time. Oh, I have a possible error here. Geocoding. Oh, I wrote cocoding. So there's a typo here. There we go. Geocoding failure. Alright. Oh, I deleted the O this time. Getting a lot of little errors here. So GEO. There we go. Alright. Now it should hopefully work. There we go. I get the map ready. I click search, and I'm getting back my geocode success, so it was successful there, and we got it back. And I'm just going to do a quick little debug here, just to show you all how that works and what you actually get back. Oops, sorry, I put it in the wrong place. Close this out. Alright, so I don't want it there. I don't want it when they click. I want on success. There we go. and we're just going to show you quickly what comes back. Alright, so here we go. I click search, and there we are. Here's our variables, and on our E you'll see that there is a name you can get right for it. There is a response variable, which is really what we want there as well. And so the name is really just sort of, I think, what you searched for. And the response is going to have all the other stuff in it. That also has a name in it as well, which is going to be the same as up there. And then it's going to have our place marks array as well. So it's an array, and then in the first one it gives it to us, and so this actually has now the full address in it. There's address details, which gives you like the accuracy and the country if you're interested in it. Then there are your ID for it, which we don't really care about, but what we do care about is our point, right? So it has coordinates, and it has the first coordinate is and the first and second coordinates are the latitude and longitude. Alright, now that's the points array, but what we really want is a lowercase point here. Notice that is a lat long variable there. So that's what's giving us back our lat long in terms of variables. Alright, so that's really what we're looking after here, is the point. So it's response, place marks, 0, point. Now it could have other place marks around there. We're just going to pull the first one in, assuming that that is the best. And it's possible, you know, in some cases it won't be, but that's what we're just going to do. So sometimes what I'll write in here is I'll use this as a chance to write that out. So it is e.response, right, dot place marks 0. I have to type it in like that because it's an array, dot point, and that's going to give me a latitude and longitude. So I'm going to click here to stop the debugger. Alright, and so I'm going to trace that out just to make sure I have it. This here. Alright, and so here we go. Gonna run this and make sure now that we have our geocoder. I click search and I get back my geocoding success, and I have my point. Great. So now what we are at is, that means we've gone through so far this part. We got our address in here, we sent it to the geocoder, and we got back out our latitude and longitude. So now we want to run a Google local search. So before we can run a Google local search, we have to make sure we're all set with the Google API. So we created a new version of the API here, Google API. So that's ready to go. So what we're going to do is use the Google API local search method. So you may not have used that before when you did your search, but let's see over here. So do a local search on the location. So Google API .local .search, and it's going to ask you for a search string. So we're just going to look for restaurants, but you would, in here you might pull it from somewhere else. You can pull it from wherever you might want. I just did restaurants, and in terms of start value, right now we're just going to use the default one. That's 0, by the way. If you don't know what these are, usually you often will just whatever it says after the equals here is the default value, so you can just put that in. The next one is what we want, which is the center point of the search. Okay. Now you notice that center point asks for a point and not a lat long, so we may need to pull out information from our lat long property in order to do that. So let's find out if that works or not. Okay. So 0, and then I'm going to use E response place marks 0 dot point. Okay. All right. And so that is there, and that's doing our search. Now, of course, this we don't know what's going to happen here if we haven't set up a handler for that. So going back up to our onMapReady, we also need to set up listeners for the Google API. The Google API search. Alright, so that's the next part that we want to add here, is that listener for the Google API. So Google API dot local add event listener, and it's a Google API event, and it is local search result, and then on local search, I'll call it. So that's our event listener for that. Now we have to add that event handler. Alright, so now we'll add that function on local search Google API event trace local search. Alright, so now we're going to see if we got that back. Alright, so it's giving us an error here, and it says cannot convert com Latin long to flash geom point. Alright, so we got to do that conversion. We thought that might be a problem, so we're going to do that. So we're going to make a new variable here, var lat long. So we're making a latitude and longitude that's equal to our thing here. I don't know why they call that a point, by the way, because it's giving you a Latin long type, but that is what it is. And so we're going to convert that there to make a new var point, which is going to be a point type. It's going to equal to lat long dot dot lat. Alright, that's going to give us our latitude. Alright, oh sorry, I can say new point, forgot there. So the first one, a point gets two numbers, and then lat long longitude method. Alright, so we're pulling out the latitude and longitude from those things, and then we're just going to use that point variable here. Alright, so basically what this does is this part here pulls out the latitude and longitude numbers, puts them into a new point, and then we use that point variable there. Alright, so let's run this and see how it goes now. Okay, so map is ready. We do our search, and then we get back now our local search. So this is so far so good. We have now we searched with our point, we go in, we got our local search back, and now we want to take these local search results and put them out onto the map. So that's the next phase, is we got to get this results that we have back and put them out as markers on the map. Alright, so this is here. Put the search results on the map. So what I'm going to do actually here again is add another breakpoint, remove that one, and so I want to see what it's like, these results that I'm getting back. So I know there. So there we go. Alright, we have our map ready. I do my search, and here we go. Here we have it. So E, and then remember, in terms of local search, it's going to be into the data property. So E.data.result results, then you notice there's the results are an array. So it's really that results array that I'm looking for. So when I'm scrolling here, type that in again. So it's e.data.results, right? That's my results array. And then let's look at what's inside of that results. So we have city, country. Oh, scrolling a little too much here. We have city, country, right? Driving directions, link, which we're not care about right at this time. Latitude, longitude. Right? Those are some we're gonna look at. They also have phone numbers, which is an array. I'm going to worry about that later, but you'd have to go through that phone numbers array and pull out the phone number. And then you have street address, 206 West Street, and notice address is spelled wrong with only one D, and title of it. So these are some things that we can pull out. So I'm going to type in some of these here. Data results. I'll put in 0, but you're going to actually loop through those. 0 dot title. So I'm just putting these in so I don't have to remember this later. Title, region, street, address, that's 1D, remember? Street address, and then longitude, and we also have latitude, and country. These are just some of the other ones that we might want to have, and city. Okay, so now that I have that, I got the information I need out of it. I'm going to close that up, and we're going to try to put a marker on the map here. Alright, so we're going to put in an add marker function. I'm going to put in a short one that gets passed in a latitude and longitude. Alright, I'm just going to call it lat. Normally you would also pass in other things like other information that you would need to use to create the marker. The other option is to just do this all inside the click search, but I'm preferring to do it as a separate function. So let's take a look here at what we need to do for that create marker. So we'll create a var marker options equals new marker options, and that's dot. Here's where you would write the icon and things like that. I'm actually not going to do that right now. So icon and set other things. Alright, so I'm just going to leave it for now. And then we make a marker variable. Marker, and that's going to pass in the latitude and longitude and the marker options when you create it. Alright, and then I'm just going to say map.add overlay marker. Alright, and you could do other things. You could return this, whatever else it is that you want to do. But in this case, I just want to add it in. I know we'll do on the marker options. We'll have the tooltip be the name equals our name for restaurant name. Right, so that means I have to pass in two things here. In addition to the latitude and longitude, I have to pass in the string, which is going to be the restaurant name. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to loop through these results. e.data.results, and actually instead of keep writing e.data.results here, I'm just going to set up a variable so I don't have to do it. Var results, that's blue. Var search results of type array equals e.data results. Alright, so we just set that up so we don't have to keep typing it. Search results. Alright, so we're doing a quick one here to try to get this done soon. So var I in search results, we're going to say we've got to create actually a Latin long now back from those latitude and longitude things. So lat, I'm just calling it lat for short. Lat long equals new lat long, and so we have our argument 1 and argument 2 here. When we do that, and so we're going to get the latitude, search results, I, latitude, and search results, I, dot longitude. This is where it pays off to have written these up here so you remember what they are. Okay, and so there we have it. We have our latitude and longitude set, and then we're going to say add marker, pass that latitude in, and then in terms of the name, it's search results I dot title. Okay, so let's see if that works here. Have any errors? So we have an error already. I have an undefined property marker options. Let's take a look at that. Just make sure I spelled that right in each place. So I'm just going to paste that in. There's probably a little typo in there. Yeah, it looks like it was. And let's go there. So terms undefined is usually means you have a typo. Great, so there we are. When I search, and then now we have a bunch of markers. Now the next part, one of the next things is when we're doing this and adding the markers, I'm going to want to center this on our search. So we get that in there, right? Because right now it's hard to do. Remember, we have 8 results, so we should have about 8 restaurants here, and they should have tooltips. When I roll over them now, we can see what restaurants we got back, which is great. So the only other thing I would probably do is that when you get your search results here, let's scroll up here. When you get your local search, when you get your geocoding back, even at that point, if you want to, you can recenter the map. So you can say recenter and zoom map. So you could say something like map.set center, and it needs a latitude and longitude. So I'm going to say our lat long variable here. Alright. And then rezoom. So map.set zoom. And I'm just going to set it at 11, I think, something like that. That might be good. So it's going to center it on that location and do it. So let's run this again. So there we go. I'm going to click search, come in here, and there we are. So if I want to be a little bit closer, I can make this number higher. So instead of 11, I might set it to, let's say, 13. And that is it. Of course, now you could use, instead of these just generic markers I have, you could use custom markers that had even more functionality built into them than these do. And of course, setting your zoom in different ways as well. So, that's it.